Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking, like immediately. Oh, isn't that game that was overhyped and that was absolutely terrible? Yes, kind of. Personally, I think it's one of the greatest games ever made. But that's because I like can see exactly what happened with it and what it does great and why it had such a crazy launch to begin with. For starters, the publisher, which I will not say because I don't want to see any wrath on my channel, definitely, you could tell, rushed CD Projekt Red into having to release the game early. The game by itself is so full of just stuff to do and was so interesting and fun to play that even at start launch, I never even really had a problem with the game, with all the glitches and stuff, because the game itself was good. It was finished. It was fine. It was all the glitches and kinks that had yet to be worked out that was forced to be released early. So I don't even blame CD Projekt Red at all for how bad the launch went. It was them being rushed and put into crunch time and all that kind of stuff. But personally, I think this is one of the best games ever. Why am I only now releasing a review video on it? Because I insist on actually finishing the game that I'm reviewing before I do it, which means it took me literally 2 years to release this game. I know that is really excessive, but it was more like in order to finish everything, it took me roughly 70 hours of playtime. That's how much game there is in this game. But then off and on between work and stuff like that, it took me a while to get back and forth playing the game and finishing it. But the fact that I stood through, and I still haven't even finished all the endings. I've only done one ending so far. I am doing 2 different playthroughs, actually. One on my computer, because I bought it again so I can have mods and stuff on my computer, and another playthrough on my PlayStation so I could just see 2 different things. And then I'm going to go back to my original thing just to see all the different endings that I could go from there. The game is just so interesting, and I'm so glad that the game got a resurgence recently, especially with the release of Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which, if you guys have been watching my videos, I had a very tearful reaction to that series. But yeah, the game is just so fun. And oh, by the way, about Cyberpunk Edgerunners, I think probably one of my favorite news articles that I've read recently was the fact that people were going and playing Cyberpunk 2077 after watching Edgerunners so they can get revenge on Atom Smasher, who is a bad guy within Cyberpunk 2077. And I thought that was absolutely great. Like, the anime had such a big impact on the game as a whole, and I freaking love that. The game is getting the recognition it deserves, especially now that it's fixed now. It's fixed, it's polished and all that stuff, and any glitches that they couldn't redo, they found a way to put a story around it so it made sense in the context of the world that glitch would still exist, and it fits because of how messed up Night City and Cyberpunk universe is all together. Like, the one in particular I'm thinking of right now is a glitch where the NPCs would sometimes spawn like way far in the air and then fall to their death. They, instead of being able, they couldn't find out how to fix that glitch. So instead, they worked in a story around that glitch that certain corpos or certain people who worked in like high buildings and stuff just couldn't handle the stress, and then one day they just jumped. It's a dark story to put around this glitch, but it fits in the context of Cyberpunk, and that's like one of the things I like. That's a good like explanation and a good way around not being able to figure out how to fix a glitch. It's interesting, but at the same time pretty dark. Now, as early. Oh wait, I'm glad that it's getting the recognition it deserves because it's getting a DLC now, and I am super excited for the DLC because according to some of my friends, I thought it was just going to be a DLC that adds some stuff that happens before the ending of 2077 because it's one of those games that where you beat it, it sends you back to a point before the final few missions. But from the looks of it, it's going to put you after the ending of 2077 and establishes a true canon ending of 77, which I think is interesting. But yeah, it's just really fun game, and I highly recommend anyone else play it. I'm gonna put it at a surprising, absolutely everyone here, because I've been gushing about it for 5 minutes now, a 9 out of 10. Not a 10 out of 10, a 9 out of 10. Because I personally have played better open world games, but it is still insanely good. Like, off the top of my head, a better open world game that I can think of is Red Dead Redemption 2. But everything that you can do in Cyberpunk 2077 is far more fleshed out and far crazier than anything you can do in Red Dead 2, but the open world is a little like better, and the engine that Cyberpunk was kind of running on didn't quite match what it took to make a open world thing in that context, but what it did have, it did really well. So yeah, I'm putting it at a 9 out of 10. And depending on this DLC, I'm definitely going to make a second review video on just the DLC. But yeah, 9 out of 10. It is an insanely good game. I highly recommend everyone play it. And that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed. And go play Cyberpunk 2077. It deserves so much more than it got. And I'm so glad it has made a resurgence. And CD Projekt Red said it themselves. They're fucking back. I hope you enjoyed. Take care, guys.